Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Send out emails to everybody about the new book. So in case you didn't get it, make sure you guys check your spam, check your email. But the new book will be releasing on the 18th. We are accepting 500 pre-orders now, and a lot of people have filled those spots. So once we get to 500, you'll have to wait to the 18th to get it. But 500 pre-orders will be the only copies that'll be signed. So if you want to get a signed copy, definitely get one of the pre-orders. Also, the Self-Inflicted Religious Deception, the hard copy, will also be re-releasing on the 18th as well to come with that same shipment. But we're only doing 300 of those books as well. So if you want a signed copy of this book, make sure you guys go ahead and grab it now while it's available, because it sells out fast. But just to get you guys updated with the app is ready to go. It's processing with Apple, and we were able to get through the problems with them. So it should be releasing in the iOS store. I'll let you guys know when it does. And yeah, so the site will once again change a little bit to adjust for the app. And it is the Pro app, Merkaba Academy Pro. So it will be available on Android, probably in the Google Play Store first, and then on the app in the App Store for your iPhone or iOS devices. But the process with this whole thing, but it's going to make things a lot more easier. And a lot of people are not getting the alerts from YouTube, or you guys don't know when new stuff comes out. This way, with push notifications, you'll get alerts for everything that's coming up, what have you. So it's definitely a good thing, and it's going to be integrated with the site in a unique way. As you can see, if some of you guys might have noticed, Merkaba Academy has that feature with push notifications if somebody friend requests you, and the same type of stuff you get with like Facebook. So you guys should be familiar with it. But yeah, make sure you guys, if you haven't subscribed or registered for Merkaba Academy, make sure you do so. As I said, it's free for you to register, and make sure you guys are on there, because it's getting crazy. They're banning shit left and right. I got banned for 3 days on Facebook for basically talking about rat meat. It's a joke. Like, you had to fucking be in the conversation, understand there was nothing crazy. But apparently, if you say rat and nigga in the same sentence, or my nig, it's a problem. So yeah, hopefully the algorithm ain't tripping on this YouTube video for saying it. But stuff like this is one of the reasons why we got to have our own, social platform, and, do our own thing. And this is, as I said, the reason for Merkaba Academy, because eventually, there's already a lot of people on there, and we'll gain a lot more traction amongst conscious people, so we can have a place to really express our opinion. And, Christians on there, Muslims on there, there's a lot of people come. So definitely make sure you guys register. So get into this video, basically talking about what this book is about and the information that is important, and especially at this point with critical race theory, for people to understand like the economics of a lot of stuff that happened with us and how deep it goes. Like, you can see the system and how it's clearly in place the way I broke it down in this book. So, the reverse psychology of Black economic wealth is the name of the book, it's the title. And it really gets into, how much we really generated for this country, during slavery and after slavery, and how basically this system is still the same system, slavery. And it's so much that was done and laws that was put in place. And we get into the laws and get into the things that happened that was really put in place to hinder us. And then as you understand like those things that was put in place, those laws, you can kind of see the loopholes and ways around certain things, because I always say they have to really put on this front as if they're doing something for us, as if everything is okay, really. And, we don't have this block in front of us, but you can really look at, legal precedents and things that was set in place to legally hinder Black people from, acquiring properties, from going to schools. It was just so crazy. I talked about in the book with Medgar Evers, and Medgar Evers basically working with the NAACP, and it was basically doing this whole investigation on colleges that wasn't allowing, Black students. So it's a lot that hindered us, a lot that was going on behind the scenes, and it's a lot that really paved the way for them to be where they are and us where we are. So when they started to see the economic growth of Black people, even way back in the 20s with Black Wall Street, you understand like why they had to, destroy Black Wall Street. It wasn't a matter of, the argument that supposedly took place or jealous whites. That was part of it. That was more motivation for them. But it was something they could not allow to happen when you understand economics in the position that they wanted to be in, because we were in a position where we were really more united than white folks. And then we still had white people looking at us and saying, well, these people are doing what they're supposed to do, so I don't really have no problem. But we stayed to ourselves and we grew, with business, and we had, we was united with a common enemy. But, with integration and desegregation and what have you, there was industries that was created. There was jobs, positions created, whole entire fields and, professions that was created when, Black people was allowed to integrate and come into schools and start working in the workplace. And there's a lot of stuff that we don't think about that you would have to need as a people if you're going to bring in another people into your society. And I kind of broke this down in the previous video about really understand how that works. I talked about this in personal economics, about how any society is going to need an outside group of people to come in and patronize them, to bring outside money, or else that society can't grow. So if you have, $10 million in that society, like all the wealth within that community is 10 million. How are you going to grow unless somebody comes from the outside and bring money into that 10 million to allow you to grow? So if you think about a country or a community or a state, what have you, and having a certain amount of money, that, remember, it was segregation. It's only them. Of course, international trade wasn't as big as it is now, but it was there. So you had that money. But it was so much more possibilities, within the country to grow wealth here. And we know, slavery was a big deal, and, tobacco, sugar, cotton, huge industry with cotton. And, they grew wealth in the South with that. But then it was like, okay, slavery ended and something new had to take place. But if you have a community where you bring it in, $10 million, and then now you within your own country or state or city can have somebody from the outside patronize your community to grow it. This is exactly what happened with desegregation. It's one of the reasons why a lot of people wasn't for it, because now we took economic growth from the Black community and brought it into their communities where we couldn't live. We couldn't buy property there. And we basically made their communities flourish, and we made them millionaires and billionaires because, we just switched one form of labor, to another. So 10 million, we're taking the millions from our community and bringing it into theirs. We're taking our buying power, our spending power, and bringing it into theirs. And then we're leaving to go back to a community where that wealth is not going to, follow us. It's going to stay in theirs and allow them to grow. So when you desegregate, when you have, so we can come and, shop in these stores. I talked about the video, selling to the Negro, that whole thing where they basically telling white folks, hey, you can sell to Black people. This was a big boost to the economy, bringing this outside money that was circulating at this time within the Black community itself. And we was doing our own things with it. They wasn't touching that money as far as, huge chunks to where, like it is now, to where we basically damn near 90% of our money is going to them. I mean, you might as well say all of it is going to them when you really think about it. But, it's a system. And then you think about the system, you understand how it goes. And even still, is one of the reasons why it's really important to have, community, structure, businesses, banking, have an insurance company. You need that. And just having that within a community, within a people, because they have it, we don't. So even if we was to go and build all that, and let's say we redo a Black Wall Street, we still have to go through them. We have to go through them for licensing. basically for all permission. We still got to pay them taxes. We still have to pay on certain things. And even if we go and buy the property or what have you, that's us still giving them money. And at the same time, we could still grow this way. It's not a bad thing. We just would have to grow. We would have to have the support to make it grow. So you think about all this, and then you think about, with Black Wall Street being burned to the ground and all the hindrances that we have experienced, trying to progress as the people. And you can understand, as I said, you can see why they had to do this to keep us where we at, because Black Wall Street was basically showing you that we had the ability to, surpass them. Because here you had whole community, rich Black folks on the outskirts, poor white folks, people returning from the war. They was poor. They was living in poverty. We was doing way better than them. And it was obviously, we had that spirit, that we could grow. And who knows what would have taken place, out of Black Wall Street. Other communities we could have branched out and went into and did the same thing. And it was clear that the progression of Black Wall Street would happen. And, and soon enough, we would be in a huge economic position as a people, especially with them being so racist and not allowing us, to do anything. But you still had people come and patronize, in that community in Tulsa. So new things had to happen. So when you think about that, and then you think about, all these zoning laws, you got to go through property management companies, and you got to go through get construction permits and all this stuff. Now, every little teeny thing to just make sure we know who's doing what, that's crazy. They control that. So you can't just go and build a whole community. Oh, you have to go down to City Hall and you got to pull permits to get permits. That's not permitted. You can't build this structure here. I mean, it's the stupidest shit ever, but you got to really think about it. This is done to really control who builds what and to know who's doing what, or else we could just go out and build whatever, unless you got the money to buy a whole community, a big, large, plot of land to build on. And you're still going to have to pay property taxes. Even if you own a property, you got to pay taxes on it. So, it's crazy. So it's a lot of stuff, you got to really think about. And, you can see why certain traps is set there. I posted a video on my Instagram about, it's a guy, he's basically talking about TikTok, and he's saying how the algorithm is different, in China for TikTok, and how on TikTok, it's rewards. Like they reward the kids for doing TikToks about, engineering or something that has to do with science, something that benefits the economy. And they get rewards on their TikTok over there. Whereas here in America, you get promotion and rewards, for twerking and for doing stuff that absolutely does not benefit the economy in a way. And it's basically, when you think about it, it's the same type of situation that we're in now. They had to change everything to where we're in a situation where what we deal with the most, like what we look to the most, is not benefiting us as a people. And I always go to the hip hop culture because that's what we're living off and how everything is based on. So you can see with the Super Bowl halftime performance, and everybody just went crazy over halftime show. It's a big deal. Everybody, it's all culture and just embracing hip hop and not understanding what it is. And as I always say, it's a Trojan horse. It's destroying us. And you look at how we live and everything that's conducive to that culture, it's not benefiting us as a community or a people, and it's destroying us economically. Because now we as a people, they're showing us that this is the only way you can progress. Like he was saying in the video, like showing you TikTok, let's show them the stupid shit you got to do to get ahead. And let's put into the minds of the people that you want to be famous. This is the way to do it. You got to go on here and do something stupid. And you look on TikTok, you look on social media, and you see people doing all kinds of stuff, just weirdo stuff for the likes, for the attention, hoping they'll blow up or go viral, but what is that really doing? What is that really doing? It's keeping you in a place. You're in a place. That's your space. You only got but so much time in the day, and this is what you're focusing on. How is that going to benefit you? It doesn't matter for white folks. It doesn't matter for Asian folks. It doesn't matter for Hispanics. For us, it matters because we can't afford as a people to do this shit. We can't afford to do it. We need to really catch up. We need to be putting stuff on there that's going to help us out economically. And of course, people are going to say, oh, it's just fun. People are just on there having fun. We don't got fucking time to have fun right now. We don't. I'm talking about as a people economically. If you are in the right place personally, and you're doing fine, and you know what you're doing in your life is benefiting your family or benefiting the economy or what have you, that's all well and good. But when you really step back and look at the whole thing, should we really be putting this type of shit out as a people? And the real responsible answer is no. When you look at what we've been going through, it's kind of stupid when you really think about it. We should be putting out stuff that's going to uplift us and benefit us, you know, rather than twerking, you know, the stupid shit we put out. So you look at the hip hop culture, and I've got videos on it, and I talk about this, and it's the same type of situation. Look at what we lend our attention to more than what we should lend our attention to. And this is what they show us. This is why, you know, black kids want to be rappers. They want to be athletes. And then you got to look at it. Who is that going to benefit? It's not going to benefit us as a people. It's not going to benefit the black community economically. That money is going to go back to them. They own the whole entire industries, entertainment, sports, you know, it's them. So if you do it, and this is what you're dedicating your time to go and do, it's going to go back to them and benefit them. So we are, you know, we've been tricked, you know, and this is why I said the reverse psychology, because I talked about in the video before how, and this is on a bigger scale than this, which I get into in the book, but you got to look at it. I talked about how with NWA, when it was coming out with the music, and, you know, yeah, fuck the police, and them just basically saying how, you know, they're trying to stop us from being heard. And it was a trap the whole time. You know, see Dolores Tucker, as I talked about, she understood that, yo, this music is going to destroy us. It's not good music. And, you know, she talked about how we had to do better, basically. But you look at how it was promoted, and it was like us against them. And it's something that we rallied around as the people, saying that this music is our music. And, you know, it was our voice. But it got changed, and it got changed so that we could change. So it went from, you know, hip hop and, you know, being a message of, you know, the streets, the struggle, talking about what's going on, to where it is now. Those positive messages and those messages of encouragement are, you know, too far in between. Like, we don't get them these days. And it's like, where the fuck all our singers go? You know, all our singers is rappers. And they're not singing about loving black women anymore. They're not singing about begging black women anymore. They're singing about disrespecting black women. And like, everything has changed. And then now you got to look at it and say, well, how is that going to benefit us as a people? How is it going to really benefit us? And now it's everything. You know, it's the entire culture now. You know, you see it on Facebook, see it on Instagram. It's consuming every little thing. Whereas every beautiful girl we see that's black is on there shaking their ass. Teaching black women, all you got to do, go get a BBL and go find you a baller. That's it. You might end up on Love and Hip Hop. You might end up on Love and Basketball or some shit like that. You might end up on one of these reality shows, or you might blow up on social media and just have, you know, a huge following of people who's just following you because you got your ass done, basically. And this is what we're telling black women. This is what you can do. This is all that's out here. And there's not enough promotion for something different, for the alternative. So with the success of, you know, 50 Cent and the shows he put up, BMF and stuff like that, this again, you know, is showing us that this is the alternative. This is what you got to do. And it's keeping us in a place. And then what you have to understand is who's controlling that place. You know, who is controlling that we are putting out all this stuff. And then you look back and see the trap. And it's so big and it's so creepy and crazy when you really examine it. It's mind-boggling, but it is what it is. You know, it's a trap, you know, and we've been falling for it. We still in it. And it's, you know, some of you right now disagree. Oh, hip hop is this. And it's, wait a minute, it's not hip hop. Hip hop is this thing and rap is this. Hip hop and rap are two different things. Like, get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. It don't matter at the end of the day. At the end of the day, what we're listening to, what's driving the culture, is not benefiting us as a people. It's just that simple. So we really get into economics a lot. And I want to talk about what I put in the back of the book, which you'll see a lot of people are going to be happy about it. So in the back of the book, what I did was, because we get into economics a lot, so we get into some of the stuff we talked about in personal economics. And what I wanted to do was give you guys an economic plan, goals. Like, you're not going to really think about all this stuff. You know, you're not. It's just tough for people to understand because we're not taught this. So I had to teach it. And it's going to be better for you to have it in a book so you can see it daily. You can open your book and read and see these steps and what you need to follow. It's what I did and it's what they do to get to where you at. I'm stinking rich. I'm rich because of these steps, and I just can't put it no other way. I use these steps. So I break down what you need to do. One, how you need to structure your finances. That is huge. How you need to have these separate accounts. So I break this down for you guys in the book. And these separate accounts is important of how you live your life. Everything you do is driven by your money. So your income, that's you. That's what you got. That's you. That's what you can do. No matter what it is, that's you. Whether you go to the club with it, whether you buying clothes, that's you. That's how you're going to live your life. It's based on that money coming in. So you really need to understand how much money you really have coming in. For some people, it's going to take you, you have to calculate things. Well, mostly everybody, but people money fluctuate. But it's amount that you're going to be guaranteed to get a month. So you need to know that number. You need to know what your expenses are, because most of you don't. Most people, we got money. If I got 10,000 in the bank, I got 10,000 in my pocket. And that's how people look at it. And they don't understand how to break it down. So like I tell people, I pay myself a salary. Just because I have all this money, I don't just have all this money walk around in my pocket. No, I pay myself a weekly salary. So I know what I got. If I go over that weekly salary, which I never do, then I'm broke. Because I'm not just going to go. It fucks up the system. And this is what I mean by, we talk about this in the book, cheating yourself. It's the biggest thing we do. We cheat the hell out of ourselves, and you need to restructure your mindset around this plan that I laid out that's going to really benefit you, especially for you young people. I got a lot of young guys email me about a lot of stuff. But this is one of the things, especially if you're young, because you're starting out. You need to structure yourself like this. And it's how I talk to my son. And, structure, his finances this way, because like, to me, this is the only way. This is the way that's going to benefit you to grow and to be, responsible, and to not be, to pay your bills, to not even have to worry about your bills. If you follow these steps, you're not going to have to worry. And it's around that time, a lot of you guys get income tax. And I talk about this in personal economics and how you can really grow from that. It should be no way in the world. A lot of you, I think they're giving back $8,000 per child this year. There's no way a lot of you should get that chunk of money and blow it on a trip or on a bag, Louis bag, Gucci, whatever, and just not be able to use this money to grow. So yeah, back of the book. After we get through all the stuff, we break this down. We get into a lot of it. I think if you don't get the book for anything else, you want to get it and understand the economic part of it and how you can personally benefit from it following these steps. And I mix in, meditation steps on what you need to be dwelling on based on these points, these goal points that's laid out in the book. So I think a lot of people benefit from it. It's something that, like I said, you can open and look at daily and make sure you follow in those steps. And if you follow, there's no way you can fail. So of course, a lot of people worried about what's happening over there with Russia and everything. So I know you guys are waiting on that video from me. It's coming. I'm waiting for some things to happen. And, you can kind of sort of see, it's not a coincidence that, baseball season is delayed. It's not a coincidence that we have this war around. Like, none of this stuff is coincidence. You understand, stuff happens for a reason. But you also have to look at how, things are going to happen, in America. It's not going to be as quick as you may think it is, as far as how this stuff is going to play out. And for the, end time Bible questions I get for a lot of people, I know you guys was talking about, how Rosh, in the Hebrew Bible, in Ezekiel 38 is talking about Rosh, and it's the Greek Rush, R-U-S, and people going to take that to mean Russia. And it basically does, but we'll get into it in the video, so you can understand, because you have to look at a lot of other things that, Rosh goes to. You have it really translate to head. The first time we see it in Genesis. And in the Hebrew, it's talking about when the Bible says, your head will bruise his heel, talking to the serpent. So it's talking about the head of a snake. So serpent's head, but still head. So you got to look at that, and you got to understand that, you still have Rosh Hashanah or Rosh Hashanah. And that's basically beginning of the new year. And which one is it? And you're going to have people move that all over the place, but I'm going to break it down in the video so you can understand what that gets into. Definitely Ezekiel, which is talking about this. It's talking about, how Israel was going to be attacked by air. And, these nations are supposed to come together and try to go into Israel. And, it's when the end of the world, and Jesus is supposed to come back and all this stuff. So it's no way now when you really paying attention, you can't see how this is an agenda. As I said on Instagram, like, you got to understand, like, you don't think these people read the Bible? You don't think they know what the Bible say? And it's like, you don't think they know this shit? They're saying all these conspiracy videos, and I hate to say that, but all the videos people put out, these end time videos, I should say, you don't think they know this shit? They know this stuff. I mean, come on. You got to really pay attention to what this really is. It's exactly what we knew it was going to be. And by now you should see. It's not a coincidence it's talking about, in Matthew. It's going to be disease, famine. It's taking place here. It's coming. Pay attention. So we're going to get into that. And it's going to be one of those deep videos again, that I put out. So a lot. And they showing you. It's not going to go down the way you think it is. It's just not going to happen like that. And, it's really going to come down to the people. That's what it always comes down to, really. And the reaction, because you can't imagine. I mean, just follow your mind. You can't imagine looking at Russia today, where you have 100,000 Russians in the street protesting the war, and they don't want to go to war. When, as I talked about, Russia that's what they're known for. You can't invade that place. It's not just the military you have to fight. The people will fight. Same with the Ukraine, even though 500,000 supposedly fled, but we don't really know. What's going on. It would have been a perfect time if Russia wants to really attack the people. If they wanted to attack the people, if they wanted to do something, that would have been a perfect time when you have, hundreds of thousands of people, trying to flee. And, we're going to get into, black people, they're not letting us out. I question black people in the Ukraine in the first place, but we was everywhere before them. So, who knows? Who knows? I remember driving through Sweden, and middle of nowhere in Sweden. Talked about this in one of my videos. Middle of nowhere in Sweden, pull over to get gas, go into this gas station, and walk through the door, and my mouth just dropped because this black dude behind the counter. And he looked like he was American. And I'm like, what are you doing here? And he was telling me, my family been here forever, like generations. He tracked his family back like he knew, like they've been here for hundreds of years, probably thousands. He's like, he was talking about the history he has, and just like everybody knew his family, and they owned the gas station with the restaurant next door. Blew my mind. I took a picture with the guy and everything. Blew my mind. So I was just like, it was good to get that knowledge and to know, like, listen, we've been everywhere. I talked about the royal family, Sweden, and just everything that was going on around that time. We've been everywhere. So who knows, how long black folks been in the Ukraine, in that area. But it's a lot to understand. The Bible thumpers, the end time people, understood. It's like, we're not saying that it doesn't look like it, but it's not, the biblical stuff, and Jesus ain't coming back on a white horse and all that stupid shit. But you need to understand how that's breaking down. It's like I said, come on. You don't think they know this? Why are they in such a hurry to bring about Armageddon? What is that? It don't make sense, but I'm gonna make it make sense. So, whoever it was that emailed me about that question, I got you in the video. And it's a lot. It's a lot to get into because there's a lot that's happening, and it's a huge economic side to it all, which is almost the main point of it. But it's still a lot of stuff you got to look at. It's still a lot of stuff going on, and then a lot of things you have to think about is, okay, so they're trying to say that Russia's trying to bring back the whole old Soviet Union. For what? For what? And you can't really do shit at this point, and you're surrounded by NATO countries, and you step foot or do anything on certain lands, then they're coming for you. But Israel is supposed to be attacked by multiple nations. So at some point, it's supposed to be nations supposed to come together against Israel, and Russia is the head of it. But how is that going to happen? Who are these nations? And you only can think of, possibly Arab ones. And is Iran, going to join, or Afghanistan? We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. So we got to look at how all this stuff is playing out. and how, you know, it fits. So, you know, we don't know. Just got to look and see. But yeah, make sure you guys grab the book if you want it, signed copy. Once the pre-orders are sold out, that's it. It's going to come down until, you know, later on. Yeah. Also, I know a lot of people asked about the old book. It's available. Go ahead, grab the pre-orders. You know, those books will be out, you know. So pre-order is all going to come out at the same time, March the 18th. And yeah, appreciate you guys taking the time to watch, and see you guys next video.